Panda.
Let's jump in to talking about our favorite man-child, who, despite being a billionaire, is also in need, apparently, of some sort of level of like just additional like strength or something. Like, I don't get it. Like, the king of the man children himself. Let's just dive right in and talk about Elon Musk again, because the saga continues. This article now comes from Jezebel. It is difficult to use a mouse with this thing. let me let me get this article. Oh my god, it's tough to use a keyboard also. This is I should have planned ahead for this idea. It's so cute, but not practical. So I'm adorable and causing additional problems for myself. Oh my god, like even holding, actually holding this is not so bad. I learned that you need the site to actually the site to actually work, didn't you? Hell. I think it's a combination for this one. I think it's a combination of not just apparently he forgot that people actually need to work at the company for the company to function. Like, it's kind of hilarious to me to be so disconnected from like middle and working class that you actually think you don't need them to run the company because you absolutely forgot they're the reasons, like we're the reasons that these companies even fucking exist. If it's quite literally not for working class and middle class citizen, majorities of these fucking rich ass CEOs would not be rich ass CEOs. It is something it is something that they tend to forget, and apparently Elon Musk apparently forgot that very directly. But I'm thinking it's a combination of that, and also a combination of, oh shit, class action lawsuit? That can't be good. And this also comes in lieu of this whole entire blue checkmark drama. For those of you that don't know, the like Nusky over here, the man child himself, decided that the only way to make Twitter profitable is to literally make it that the blue check mark, which originally stood for this is a verified account, and especially helped for individuals that are like of more notoriety or just a lot more fame, or there's like someone who's most likely going to get their account like just mimicked or however, like someone pretending to be them. This is how you can tell the difference between someone who is, this is the different, like the check mark is there so you can be like, oh, this one's actually Rihanna, versus, oh, this is Rihanna with a spelling that has one too many A's in it and it's just like Dollar Tree Rihanna. It's just not actually like, like the verification check mark served as that purpose. It's just like, this is the real person who legitimately owns the account that it represents, right? Well, Musk apparently thought that instead of it being a verification process, it should actually just be something you can buy. Because if you're spending money, because that's how capitalism works, throwing money at his problems will get solved, which is, oh crap, this website is going to tank me. Right? But apparently, from what, and the article covers it too, what he's doing is not just it does, like the blue check mark, the $8 a month isn't just for the blue check mark. It directly impacts the algorithm that all these websites says can't be impacted unless I guess you throw money, which did the same thing. Like, we can't do anything about the algorithm. Oh look, the problem was just giving us more money. Who would have thought it? Musk has the same solution. You're worried about the algorithm? It's cool. Money can fix the problem. But the issue with that is that he's basically going to create a system in Twitter that blue check marks get preferred treatment when it comes to the algorithm. So more than likely what the hell is it called? I know on TikTok we call it a For You page, but your timeline or whatever the hell. The Twitter timeline is basically going to favor folks paying Elon Musk money versus those that don't. If you only really use Twitter to socialize, not as impactful. But if you use Twitter to advertise your content creation, and it is in fact impactful because now you're stuck where if you're not paying $8 a month, more than likely your tweets seen, which then means that it's less means for folks to discover you on whatever platform you're doing your content on. It is again a crappy situation. But according to this, and this article is from Jezebel. In this particular article, the focus is begging for the people that he kicked away to come back. Please come back. Por favor, please come back. CNN reported late afternoon that Twitter is going to delay the rollout of its announced $8 blue checkmark program until after the midterm. Which who knows how that's gonna go. Elon Musk's Twitter takeover is going about as well as one might expect. In addition to announcing that the platform will not be giving out blue verification checks to anyone that pays $8 a month, Musk laid off, as we know, 3,700 people Friday. Roughly half of the company saying that the move was necessary to make Twitter profitable. And here is his aged poorly tweet. Regarding Twitter's reduction in force, unfortunately, there's no choice when the company is losing over $4 million a day. Everyone exited was offered 3 months of severance, which is 50% more than legally required. Hey, sorry that you suddenly lost your job, like literally on Friday, but here's 3 months of pay. Hopefully, it lasts you about 3 months. Have I mentioned that these things make using the mouse so difficult? Bloomberg reported on Sunday that in the 2 days that followed, the company actually reached out to many of those laid off employees to ask them to come back. It was almost like it was a bad idea. Some of those who were being asked to return were laid off by mistake, according to two familiar with the moves. Others were let go before management realized that their work and experience may be necessary to build the new features Musk envisioned, that people said, asking not to be identified, discussing private information. That is fucking hysterical. Literally firing people before realizing that these people are essential to working in the damn company. Yeah, it would be nice if they did ask for raises. Like, hey, you want us back? Like, well, pay up. And honestly, would they even want to come back? Because job security is not something that's going to be offered here. They already know the job security doesn't exist. They've experienced it. I would personally want to work somewhere where I know I don't have to worry about finding a job and updating my resume all over again in a matter of the whims of the CEO. Multiple sources in Twitter blind chats now saying that the company has begun to reach out to some of the people laid off yesterday asking them to come back. Whoops. From Twitter Slack, sorry to add everybody on the weekend, but I want to pass along that we have the opportunity to ask folks that were left off if they will come back. I need to put together names and rationales by 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Sunday. Whoops. Who comes out after Musk complained that Twitter has a massive drop in revenue due to activist group pressuring advertisers. We love free speech, but no, not this free speech. The free speech that I like is free speech. Everyone else are just activists. There's a thread from someone who works in the inner guts of Twitter, and it keeps it from going offline, and near all of them got laid off. This tweet here, though, is this not the most ironic load of horseshit? Twitter has had a massive drop in revenue. Oh, wait, hang on. The one writing the thread is still working there, but many also resign in solidarity. So not only did people get laid off, but the ones that are left are saying, "Yeah, no, deuces." Good for them. Good for them. Go somewhere where you're actually, well, I mean, yeah, at least in the US, finding a company that actually respects you for what you're worth is incredibly tough to find. But at least find yourselves a company that does a better job of pretending they value your worth than a company that very openly and loudly tells you they don't. Twitter has had a massive drop in revenue due to activist group pressuring advertisers. Even though nothing has changed with the content moderation, and we did everything we could to appease the activists. Appease the activists. We're so demanding. Oh my god. Extremely messed up. They're trying to destroy free speech in America. You do realize that activism is a form of free speech. So how can activists be destroying the very thing they are depending on to even be heard? I'd ask you to make it make sense, but I know that you don't have the capacity to do so because you can't make something this redonk make sense. But your fandom doesn't need it to make sense. Your fandom just needs a reason to not have to wear their pointy hats anymore. Ay, Dios mío. A new feature must put in place which adds context to certain tweets. Fact checked him on this. Multiple advertisers have confirmed they are pausing spending while they see what direction Elon Musk takes with the platform. The attachment reads: the growing exodus of advertisers comes amid concerns that Musk will scale back misinformation and security protections on the platform. So it's not. So, Mr. Muskie, it's not that activists are pressuring advertisers. Advertisers do not want to mix in with the alt-right, which you very loudly and openly bed with. So they are sitting there waiting to see if this website, if Twitter is going to be no better than Truth Social, because if that's the case, they want none of that smoke. I'm assuming you didn't think that far off, but you always have to scapegoat someone. And there's one thing that the people are incredibly good at scapegoating, are anyone that don't look like them. Which is kind of funny for me to say considering what I look like right now, but that's besides the point. Stay focused. Focus! Must put a new feature put in place, which oh no, we read that already. Let's see. Brands including General Mills and the Volkswagen Group have paused advertisement on the platform, saying they're worried about the direction it will take Musk. The use of the N-word on Twitter has reportedly spiked by 500% after he bought the company. For example, and Musk himself has already used it to spread disinformation about the attack on Paul Pelosi. We have paused advertising on Twitter. Kelsey Romheld, I hope I said that right, a spokesperson for General Mills told CNN, as all we will continue to monitor this new direction to evaluate our marketing spend. Although I have been working for Twitter for 4 years, I rarely post. But I want to send a message today about the recent layoff at Twitter. I was laid off 6 weeks postpartum during my maternity leave. It is such a shocking time to see my computer turning to fired or laid off. Excuse me, we have to use the right terminology. Even though our impact to our lives remains the same, companies like knowing the difference between fired and laid off. Despite the literally identical lived experience. This poor individual was literally laid off during their maternity leave. That is beyond that. That is very pro-life, I can tell you that much. Like, what can you even say to this horrible, horrible situation, which is literally just a story of a man whose ego is just insensitive as the people that left comments on my 60-second video, who doesn't know how to measure his own worth because his worth has been handed to him by merit of his demographic his entire life. His wealth was inherited, and he knows very little what to do with it other than cause himself debt that pretty much his name alone is the only reason he can get out of it. Reminds me of someone orange, right? He is doing things that any one of us trying to mimic it or do the same would literally be in ruins afterward. The privilege, the entitlement, the lack of self-awareness, it's thick and palpable with everyone that thinks like him, acts like him, works like him, and worships, and the people that worship people like him. Twitter was good while it lasted, and I am eager to see what will take its place, because I'll probably be there. I gotta love how we suffer for his midlife crisis and post-divorce mania. That's how it goes with billionaires. Because of the control and pull that they have, when they go and have their midlife fucking crisis, the only ones they affect are people in our area, the middle class people, working class people, billionaires shutting down companies and opening up new one, and this, that, and the third, which to them are just minor decisions that they do on a whim and then instruct a whole plethora of other people to actually execute for them. And lives are literally changed and adjusted and impacted while theirs remains blissful. You have literally someone who discovered they were laid off during their maternity leave, who now have to plan that out during their maternity leave of where their new source of income is going to be, instead of the point of maternity leave, which is bonding with their new baby. And he remains in bliss, just living his best life, unbothered by all the lives he negatively impacts. Is this what trickle-down economics was supposed to be like? Because the only thing that seems to trickle down is the ego of these billionaires. I digress. Glad I barely use Twitter so I can watch the explosion with popcorn. I mean, that's great, but as someone that was using Twitter to, like, you know, expand the Pandaverse, this sucks. I am in the explosion that you're watching with popcorn. And quite frankly, people that work at Twitter are in that explosion. Every other content creator on Twitter trying to make it are in that explosion. There's a lot of people that are in that explosion. Folks that do activism are in that explosion. It's a big one. Twitter was a big deal. Twitter was my main source of figuring out what was actually happening during the Black Lives Matter like activist movement, while news reporters were too busy like trying to demonize the Black Lives Matter movement itself. Like the one dude that literally brought an entire archery set to literally aim it at people was painted as a victim by the media, while I was watching the live tweets of this man pointing it at people aggressively and being taken down so that he doesn't hurt someone with this bow and arrow. Two completely different narratives, and it was thanks to Twitter's, like, people on Twitter tweeting that live tweet, that I was able to see what was actually going on for the during Black Lives Matter versus what media was trying to feed us. So what's happening here whether you're an active Twitter user or not, is that we're losing another medium that wasn't conservative controlled. We're losing a medium that we were able to have some semblance of look. White supremacy was definitely strong on Twitter, but we still had a pocket in there where we were able to give like true accounts of stuff that's happening, people posting the actual like events that's happening for all these big historical moments. We are losing that. We're losing that and getting another propaganda machine akin to Facebook and Instagram. The only thing we have left at this point, and barely, is TikTok. And I say barely, but because they're not US conservative owned like all the other major social media platforms at this point, because now that includes Twitter. The problem with TikTok is that it already favors white supremacy. Shadow bans, and all the other stuff already happens to the BIPOC, trans, and other queer identified individuals on TikTok as it is. Yet it still remains, at this point, probably the last bastion of being able to get unfiltered information as it happens. And at this point, considering that one of the chairmen of, I think, of the FCC at the moment is pushing to have TikTok banned, the question at this point is, for how long?